All right, all right. Here we go. Hitting the Road podcast. Excited today to talk to country music artist Tyler Halverson. Tyler, how you doing, man?
We're good. Just a nice gloomy day here in Nashville.
It's pretty gnarly out, isn't it? It's pretty yucky.
Yeah, well, I was just up in South Dakota this last weekend for Thanksgiving, so I'm just happy there's not a half foot of snow on the ground.
Yeah. Well, it's getting to be that time of year, man, and it just for me, man, I really can't stand the winter, all that much, but it's upon us, man. But well, real quick for those that may be listening in, Tyler's got I mean millions of streams across all platforms. If you're getting to know his music, Beer Garden Baby, Mac Miller, Smoke You Out, 94 Camaro, and he's got a new project coming out February the 13th, In Defense of Drinking, that you should definitely check out. He's got a full tour schedule coming. This spring is going to be jam packed. He's going to be out with Parker McCollum. Did I miss anything so far?
No, I don't think so.
I mean, come on, man. That's big business, man. You're doing things. And so, man, if you can give me a little bit of leeway here, I'm going to try to tie something together for us. Okay.
Yeah,
All right. So, man, so you're from Canton, South Dakota, right?
yes.
And so my grandfather grew up. He was from Parker, South Dakota, which was
Okay.
about 30 minutes. I want to say, west of you, kind of thing, right?
We
Um,
wrestled them.
oh, what's that?
Said we wrestled them.
You wrestle? Okay. Were you a wrestler?
Yeah, I was way too short to play basketball, so that's what it was.
Gotcha, gotcha. So my granddad, man. I mean, and as you can imagine, man, nothing going on really out in Parker either. But so my grandfather, he was from there. When he was 15 years old, my grandfather, man, he kind of came from a rough upbringing, right? And so he was 6'4", tall guy, even at 15. And so he left home at 15 years old, and he was at a diner there in Parker. And I guess these guys, the military guys, kind of came in to eat, and they just asked my granddad. They said, "Hey, Stretch, man, where you gonna be tonight?" And he said, "I got nowhere to go." And they said, "Well, you're coming back to the base with us." And so at 15 years old, my grandfather had to go back to his dad and have a piece of paper signed saying that he was 18,
Yeah.
and he went into the military at 15.
Oh, there you go.
And as you can imagine, he got scared because he was all of 15 years old. My grandfather went AWOL and he ran to Colorado Springs, Colorado, and they put him in a military jail for 2 weeks.
Dang.
After that, my grandfather ends up serving in the military. He served not only in the Army, but he served in the Air Force. He went everywhere, man, from Michigan to Washington. Where I'm going with this, Tyler, is that when it was all said and done, my grandfather ended up in Fort Worth, Texas.
Hmm.
Okay. And that's where he raised a family, had children, the whole thing, man. And Fort Worth is my home.
Yes.
Growing up, that's where I'm from. So, man, in a really weird and indirect way, man, you started out in South Dakota, this kind of little small, small town, and you
Yeah.
ended up in Texas for a while, man. Tell me about where you come from.
Yeah. So I grew up in Canton, South Dakota. It's just south of Sioux Falls, like 30 minutes in that southeast corner. And I was going to college there for a couple years at South Dakota State. Go
All
Jackrabbits.
right.
You
Yeah.
probably don't hear that often.
No.
Uh, and then I moved down to Nashville, went to Belmont University for a couple
Mhm.
years, and just started kind of playing, recording some stuff while I was in college, and then ran off to Texas for a while. Kind of got pissed off at town, and then I
That
disappeared
happens.
for a year or two. Yeah, it's my favorite thing to do is run away from Nashville.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. But went to Texas, started playing a whole bunch there, and wound up in Turkey, Texas, in between Lubbock and Amarillo, up there in the
Yeah.
Panhandle.
Panhandle. Yeah.
Yeah, it was. I mean, it was great. Like a little town of like 300 people. My phone didn't work. I didn't have any internet. I
Yeah.
just shut off from the whole world and just it was just me and that guitar. It was great.
Yeah. Yeah, man. So you mentioned like you were a wrestler, too short to play basketball. But when did you first kind of, get really the interest, in music and, obviously, going to Belmont, I mean, you obviously had an inclination towards it.
Yeah, I think I don't know. My parents were pretty big concert junkies growing up, and we always we showed cattle all around the country. So we were always at like a stock show or rodeo, and there's always concerts, there's always music, there's just always some association to that going on with it. And so I think I just kind of fell into that and wanted to be a part of that party.
Yeah. Yeah, man. I mean, so, when you come to Belmont, I mean, a lot of people they're gonna, and as you know, man, they're gonna get probably a really good education when it comes to some facet of the music industry. Was Belmont kind of your like, hey, if the artist thing doesn't work out, at least I'll get a degree in X, Y, and Z. Like what was the plan there?
I mean, I'm notorious for no plan ever. I don't think
Yep.
the plan was to ever work for anybody else other than myself. I remember going into like internships and stuff like that, and I'd be uploading somebody else's shit to Spotify and things like that, and I'd almost be like a little pissed off at myself for doing it,
Yeah.
like. But it was nice to learn like the ins and outs and some of the stuff there, and also just realizing that yeah, it's all a made up game. There's no rules, and nobody
Yeah.
knows more or less than you anyhow. So. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, did you was it during that time when because listen, you mentioned and I hear it a lot, but you mentioned that town kind of pissed you off a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think people have a different relation. So, everybody's relationship with Nashville is different, right? I mean, from an artist perspective. I
Yeah.
mean, did you come up there and did you say, man, I think that I don't have to go the traditional route. I think that I can hack it a little bit, or I think that I can maybe go my own way. Like what was your approach to it?
I don't know. I guess I always like. I think it's good to fight and wrestle with this place just as much as you love it because I hate it just as much as I love it. Maybe
Yeah.
it's just that kind of thing. But I don't think there's a better place to write a song in the world. There's
Yeah.
some best friends and the most brilliant minds are here.
Totally.
So I think I just kind of like. I remember going into songwriting when I got into Belmont on songwriting and kind of swapped out of that. Didn't really like the whole like the teaching side of that. I don't think it's something you teach. It's something you
Yeah.
kind of you're in the room and you learn. So I've met a lot of friends out in Midtown and Music Row and just was always trying to be the little fish in the writing room
Hmm.
and just taking notes and seeing what was going on. And I think that was just kind of my whole approach: is just surround yourself with people that do it better.
Yeah. Yeah. And when you were doing the school thing, I mean, were you simultaneously writing, often like in town? I mean, were you doing that a lot?
Yeah, yeah. I think I was trying to like find my little community there and, plug myself into some writing rooms and but yeah, I was always writing and especially just before moving to town, I was writing a lot by myself. It's
Yeah.
all I had. So I still did a good bit of that.
Yeah. Well, when you're, kind of first coming up and we talked about this with maybe some other guests, but it's like it's almost like when you find a writer in town that maybe you admire or whatever, and let's just say they've got some skins on the wall. There's like an etiquette to it. There's like a nuance to it. You don't really ask an Ashley Gorley like, "Hey man, can I write with you sometime?" Like that's not what you do, right?
Yeah.
You almost have to be invited into that space, right? And so what was the first, write that you got maybe invited to or you kind of wound up in that you were just like, "How did I end up in this room?"
I think that probably happened when I started writing my buddy Keith Gaddis. Uh
Okay.
he kind of took me under his wing and showed me the ropes a little bit about what was going on with the recording and the writing and how to stay true to yourself on that as well.
Yeah. Yeah. And do you remember what you guys wrote that day? Was it anything decent?
I don't even remember off the top of my head. It might have been the "Anybody But You" song, honestly.
Okay.
Yeah, might have been
Okay.
that.
Okay. Gotcha. So man, you're doing the writing thing, but I would imagine and help me out and help anybody listening out. Like you didn't go the traditional, like a lot of guys they come to town, they're playing the bar scene, they're playing Tootsies, they're playing, whatever it is, and they think they've kind of, arrived or whatever because they're getting paid to, whatever. They've got a regular gig, kind of a, like how did you pay the bills? How did you kind of keep the lights on? Did you play all the right rooms in town, for a little while?
Yeah, I mean, I had plenty of jobs that I was juggling while I was playing, writing and singing around town. I sold very expensive boots to middle-aged women
Okay.
for the time on
Okay.
Broadway. Uh,
Okay.
yeah, so that was a good little steady income, and
Yeah.
just the shit you hear downtown is always inspiring to write about. There's
Yeah.
no shortage of just crazy shit going on down there.
Yeah. So when did you start gigging?
I probably started playing out like I mean I was like growing up I was playing all the bars and stuff back home and then from there it just kind of turned into that was my summer thing when I was going to school and then it just kind of turned into a full-time deal but I think we started like actually hitting the road pretty hard like 4 or 5 years ago.
Okay. And
Yeah.
and man, and help me out here too, because I felt like, the path that you took, even touring, because you kind of played some of those almost like states that were regional to you and where you come from, right? Like you were kind of playing those areas instead of maybe playing in the Southeast where, playing Georgia and, Ohio and all that kind of stuff. You kind of took it back to where you kind of came from, right?
Yeah, I mean, South Dakota was home base for a little bit in between there. So I was running around South Dakota, Wyoming, Colorado, Montana, Nebraska, Minnesota, a
Yeah.
bit of Iowa. Yeah, just kind of going where was a decent drive from home.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
Everyone's good.
yeah, totally. And did you, I mean, do you feel like, because that's for me anyway. I mean, because I was a former agent, right?
Mhm.
It's hard to book stuff out that way. People don't know that.
Yeah,
It's really hard to get stuff booked out that way. I mean, like, and the funny thing is like you may have a place that is like, especially if you're playing like the Colorados or something, whatever, like it may be 45 miles, but it's a 3 hour drive or something like that because of all the
yeah,
mountains. It's a really difficult area to book. I mean, but was that something like out that direction you were just really comfortable and felt like, man, I kind of feel good to bet on myself.
yeah. I mean, I think that was home, and that was what was available for me. And I remember there's an old guy in town that he had a little like hippie fiddle circle at the bar downtown, and I remember I told him that I was, just going to be doing music full time, and the only thing he told me was they ain't going to call you, so you got to call them. Like
Yeah,
it was the
yeah,
whole, you got to turn the hustle on yourself.
that's true. And it's funny. I was talking to my wife today, and it's funny, man, because and I'm sure you know this feeling or felt this feeling if I had a guess, but artists when they're first starting out, I think let's just say that maybe they don't have a deal, they don't have publishing, they don't have booking, they don't have a team kind of, working for
Yeah,
them or whatever. There's a part of you that thinks that like, man, I could probably fade away and no one would even notice.
yeah,
Right? I mean, have you ever felt that feeling before where it's just like,
absolutely, every day.
so
Yeah.
you still feel that feeling?
Oh yeah, man, we ain't shit. We're still coming up. I'm nowhere near where I want to be.
Yeah.
Uh,
Where do you want to be?
Someday I just want to pull my bus off of my ranch and go play the shows that I want to play, then get my ass back home.
Yeah.
That's what I want to
Yeah. Well, man,
be.
listen, it sounds simple enough, and
Yeah,
obviously, as you know, it's a build, right?
yeah,
And so I'm curious too because, and I mentioned before we jump on, I think you've just got some really money quotes. And I'm going to read this back to you. If you didn't say it, my apologies, but I'm going to read this off to you. You tell me because I think that's really interesting. But you said you said you can lose yourself in the troubadour lifestyle where every night is a party and you're far from your family, your home, and your faith. So this album, the one that you got coming up here in February, may be a little bit of a personal battle, who you are on the road versus who you are at home.
yeah,
All right, so here's because I thought about this a lot last night, even before we kind of popped on today. Um, it's so funny, man, because I think as people, all of us are guilty of wanting to put our best foot forward, right? Like we whether it's we put on kind of our church tie or whatever it is, we want to put our best foot forward, and and we're whether we want to acknowledge it or not, we can all be a little bit duplicitous, and I think in our personality, where maybe we're one way over here, but maybe we're one way over there. And I guess my question to you is like, how do you kind of balance that? Because you've been pretty transparent about life on the road.
yeah.
And like, how do you kind of balance those two worlds? Like basically, to quote you a little bit, it's just like, where you've almost got that battle. You're one way, far from home, but you're this way on the road, like, or this way at home and this way on the road. How do you kind of juggle that mentality?
That's tough. I don't know that I do a very good job of juggling that sometimes.
Yeah,
I think I don't know. I think but I also think it's a good thing. Like I'm not supposed to be the same person that I am on stage as I am at my house. Like
yeah,
it's different. I think it's a different deal. One's trying to be an entertainer, and the other guy's just kind of like a little stoner recluse. So
yeah,
it's tough to balance that
yeah,
sometimes. You
yeah,
know.
yeah,
Uh, but yeah, I think I don't know. That's something I've just been. I think that's what this whole record's kind of talking about is that kind of thing.
yeah,
It's easy to you know, you spend every night singing in bars. It's pretty easy to find yourself in one when you're not singing too.
yeah,
It's a lot of that. So yeah, I think it's that's what this record talks about. It's just kind of the step through that.
yeah, totally. And not to use a bigger word than is necessary, but there is a juxtaposition, right? Like there's that, there's the between just kind of who you probably aim to be and sometimes who you find yourself to be because we're all working it out, right? We're all working out, we're
Yeah,
work in progress, right?
absolutely.
And so, but again, I would say that, you know, again, we do want to put our best foot forward, but I do something that was refreshing about, what the music that you're putting out, maybe almost arguably to your detriment, is like you're incredibly transparent,
Yeah.
like warts and all. Like where does that transparency and that kind of almost that courage to be that come from?
I don't know. I think. it'd be really hard to sing a song that doesn't mean nothing to you and try and sell it, I guess. You wouldn't sell it.
Yeah.
So I think whether it's good, bad, or ugly, whatever it is, it's an expression. You went through it at one point in time, and maybe somebody else did too. So
Yeah.
why the fuck not sing about it?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Well, and I guess, when you listen to a lot of a lot of artists, again, you've been in co-writes and, you know, so not every song is autobiographical, right?
Yeah,
But a lot of the earlier stuff before maybe you moved to Nashville or whatever, like, did you write from a place that was a little bit more autobiographical? I mean, like, what is, is a lot of it firsthand experience, I guess.
yeah. I mean, I think you can always twist the truth, but
Yep.
I think a lot of it also came from a place that might have stemmed from something that I went through, and then
Yeah.
twisted it here and the other way. But I think I've always been pretty on about writing what I'm feeling. I'm the
Yeah.
most bothered, unbothered person you'll ever meet. So I'm just an emotional son of a bitch. So
Yeah.
that's what I
Yes.
think about.
No, it's no, believe me, I understand what it's like to be wired that way. Well, and
Yeah.
part of the reason I bring it up, man, because it's like, you've got a song dropping, I want to say on Friday, Fort Worth losing, right?
Yes, sir.
It's coming out Friday. And so, and part of the reason I wanted to tie that Fort Worth connection together, and I ask about these things, are they autobiographical? Can you kind of come from that frame of mind? How was the girl in Fort Worth, Dallas, was that a real person? I'm
Uh,
curious, man, as a listener, I'm curious.
yeah, yeah. No, not necessarily. I mean, I've made my share of late night bar mistakes, but so maybe it stemmed from some of that shit. But that one honestly just came from seeing some girl wearing a "I'm Fort Worth It" t-shirt, and then me
Yeah.
and my buddy wrote a song about how she probably wasn't.
Yeah. Okay. Gotcha. No.
Yeah.
Well, because, like, let me ask you this. Did that because you played Billy Bob's this year, yeah?
Yes, sir.
And how was that experience?
It was great. We've been there two times now, two, three times, and it's better every time.
Okay. And so when you played Billy Bob's, was that around the time you saw Fort Worth a Girl, or was that a different time?
Oh, shoot. I think that was a little bit before. That was
Yeah.
probably a year or two before. That song's been sitting in the Dropbox for a minute.
Has it really?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, man. Well, and for those that don't know, Billy Bob's Texas, largest honky tonk, probably still, in the
Yeah.
freaking country. But it's such a so, like I said, I'm from Fort Worth, man. So I've been to Billy Bob's, good number of times.
Yeah.
And but it's I don't want to call it a room, but it's a cool venue to play, right?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, there's no better. That's my favorite spot. You go
Really?
drink a beer and watch some bull riding, and then you go hop on the stage and sing some songs.
Yeah, totally. So would you, and I gotta ask, would you ever call Fort Worth home?
I don't know. Maybe. I don't know. I'm not sure. I always get a little torn. I'm sure I'll go back to Texas one of these days, but it'll probably be Turkey, Texas, a place out of my heart.
So, man, you mentioned that, and let me just go back to it. A lot of geography, man, in this conversation. But let me ask you this, man.
Yeah.
Like, so you mentioned Turkey, Texas, out literally like, if you haven't been, for anybody listening, if you haven't been out to the Panhandle, it truly is, man, still tumbleweeds in areas, and a lot of dust, and it truly lives up to its reputation. But Turkey, Texas is, I mean, it is small. How did you wind up in Turkey, Texas, man?
We started I played a lot around Lubbock and Amarillo when I was first starting. Had some guys that were helping me out and they were out of there. And they knew the people that run in the hotel in Turkey. And they always have live music out there. It's the home of Bob Wills, and I believe Bob
Mm.
Wills owned the hotel at a point in time. So it's always been kind of like a little, West Texas swing hub. They got the Bob Wills days and all that. So like there's a good little music scene there already. And when you just drive around there, you can't help but writing some Western shit. I mean,
Yeah,
it's just cowboy country. It's
yeah,
beautiful.
yeah. And so you went out there, I mean, just to write. I mean, was there a part of you? I mean, again, and believe me, man, I know what it's like to kind of want to get out of town. But was there a part of you that just wanted to almost be a little bit recluse and just be out in the middle of nothing?
Yeah, I think so. And I think we were playing there a lot. And I think my big thing with moving there was I knew that I was already playing in Texas quite a bit, and I knew that, you know, I don't know that Texas would have necessarily taken me in if I didn't
Mm.
buy into it myself as well.
Yeah,
I think it was kind of an investment in that regard.
yeah. Well, and man, unless I just am mistaken, I mean, you got a tattoo of Texas on one of your hands, yeah?
Yeah, that was a drunk Billy Bob's decision right there.
Was it really?
Yeah, this guy was giving some tattoos the last time, and I don't know. I got a thing for collecting shitty tattoos. The lines
Man,
don't come together. It's great.
yeah. Man, can I tell you? And I was talking to somebody the other day, another podcast, man, about how artists are funny, dude, because like the most creative people on the planet, most creative musicians on the planet, usually have just terrible ideas for tattoos, which
Oh
I
yeah,
think is amazing, dude.
yeah. I love a drunk tattoo. That's my one.
Well, how many drunk tattoos do you have?
Shit, I don't know. Probably half of them. I don't know. It
Yeah,
always just seems to happen. San Angelo and Fort Worth are the places that seems to always get stuck
yeah.
with the needle.
Yeah, totally, man. Well, man, listen, there are worse things to have on your hand than the state of Texas. But
Amen.
yeah, yeah, man. Well, man. So listen, you've got obviously this new project coming out February 13th, which seems like it's. I mean, it'll be here before we know it,
Oh
and
yeah.
then you're going to be touring that record. You're going to go out with Parker a little bit too, right? I mean, so well, like,
Yeah.
t tell me about the new project. Tell me what you're excited about.
Man, I'm just excited to. This is the first record that we've put out. We went and cut a couple records twice now, but they all kind of got split up and put into EPs. So I'm excited just to have a body of works that comes out.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And so, are you releasing this independently, or are you on a label? Like,
Yes, sir. Right now it is. Yep.
okay.
Which
So go
I'm
ahead.
taking I'm taking a lot of pride in that too, just to be able to finance a record from, running the road so hard and going all over the place and then
Yeah.
put money aside to do all that on my own.
Yeah.
Pretty proud of that.
Oh, and I think you should be, man. And again, I was talking to somebody the other day, and they had a great perspective on. I think the music industry is shifting and is changing. Where, and I'd be interested to hear your perspective on it because it's like where artists are in a position to be able to have more control over their projects. They don't necessarily need to do the traditional like record deal and all this kind of stuff. They can actually whether it's through streaming or otherwise, like keeping as much of your own music as you can. Like, what's been your experience? Like, did somebody approach you about doing a record, or was this always the plan to stay independent?
Well, I mean, we had gotten off a label last year, and as soon as that happened, I kind of just put my head down and called my buddy Gary Stanton from Muscadine Bloodline.
Mm,
We'd done the first record. Um, we just got back together and knocked out 11 songs, and
yeah,
yeah, that's what just had to keep moving.
yeah,
That was the whole.
totally. So it wasn't necessarily, and I don't want to read too much into it, but it wasn't necessarily like strategy as much as it was like, hey, I just got to keep that momentum moving the right
Yeah,
direction.
I think it was going back to what was working before, and that
Yeah,
was making music with them and putting songs out. So
yeah.
don't fix it if it ain't broke.
Yeah, yeah, totally. Well, I mean, do you feel like, and I know you mentioned you came off a label, and now you're back to be, the independent status, but like, do you see yourself, staying in that place where, you can stay independent, where, you can have more say so over the projects that you take on, and, is that kind of where you want to live, is kind of in that independent space for a while?
I don't know. I'm not real sure on that. I mean, I think I see the benefits of labels, and it was nice to have a bankroll there for somebody else financing stuff as well.
Sure.
I think they do good things. I don't know that I had the right team around me at the point in time when I was on a label, and I think that made a little bit of a difference. So, I mean,
Yeah.
yes, I'd love to figure something out with somebody down the road, but as for right now, we don't need it necessarily.
Yeah.
We're just trying to, and that was my other thing too. Putting out a record on my own isn't going to get me any worse of a deal. You
Yeah.
know, it's
Yeah.
only to make it better in the next one.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, and you mentioned, and I've talked about this with some other people, man, but you mentioned like, having the right team around you. And sometimes, man, I mean, I know that a lot of artists, they kind of, whether it's, for the first 5 years, 7 years, whatever it is, they kind of, maybe they go through a couple different managers, they go through a couple different booking agents, whatever it is. And it takes them a while to find the team that they feel like, okay, these are my people. And man,
Yeah.
we're good to go. Like, how has that process been for you finding your team, and really just kind of, trusting them to move forward in the right direction with you?
Yeah, I mean, I think that the whole team, whether it's the business side or the band, or that's all a revolving door. There's always going to be ins and outs. The only constant is yourself. You're the one that has to show up to the show.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
but I just think that's part of it, and I'm very grateful for who I have now on my team and what's going on there. I feel like we got a good group of people together, and
Sure.
just. But I think it takes just kind of sifting through the shit a little bit.
Yeah.
That's what
Well,
it.
you mentioned something, and I talked to another artist the other day, man, and they said the same thing. You mentioned you're an emotional guy, and so I guess, and dude, listen, take it from one emotional guy, man. Like, it's a superpower, right? But I guess my curiosity to you, as well, is like, when it comes to the business side of things, how do you kind of separate emotion from the business side of things? Like you said, it's kind of a revolving door.
Yeah.
And like, how do you kind of separate that and just say, hey, man, I want to be about the music. I want to be about the best product we can put out. Like,
Yeah.
how do you kind of distance yourself from the emotion?
I don't think I've ever distanced myself from any emotion. I don't know if it works like that.
Sure.
But I mean, I think it's just at the end of the day, you have to go with what your gut's telling you, and you know what's right and what's wrong. And yeah, you're trying not to get too many feelings caught up into stuff because I mean, these are people you've grown with, and you learn to love them, and they
Yeah.
love you back. You know, there's a whole. It's especially like in the band setting and whatnot, people moving out of that, and you know, after spending thousands and thousands of miles with somebody in a stinky ass van, you grow pretty close.
Yeah.
You know, so when that kind of stuff happens, it's rough. But at the end of the day, I think you know it's your business, and you have to look after yourself.
Yeah, totally. You do have to protect it. It's hard making the business decisions sometimes, right?
Yeah,
And especially like you said, they kind of become family to you, you know?
absolutely. Yeah.
And so now you've got it seems like from what I understand, you've got a good team around you and everything. And so with this record coming out, in February, like are you guys going to be, kind of like dropping some singles a little bit at a time? Is it going to all come out at once? Like what's kind of the plan, as far as, how you're going to market the record?
We've dropped three singles now. We got the fourth one coming on Friday, and then we got one more in there with yeah, we got one more song coming out in January, and then the whole thing's coming out in February. So
Okay.
we'll have five, six singles.
Yeah. Yeah, man. No, I love that. And so, as you guys are touring, I know that you like we talked about it, you're going to go out a few times, with Parker and all that kind of stuff. Tell me kind of how that relationship really just kind of like came together. I mean, have you known him for years? I mean, I know you did the Texas thing. He's a Texas guy. Like,
Yeah.
uh,
I mean, he just had always been, I'd always been a fan of him. And then when I put out Beer Garden and Mac Miller, he kind of caught wind of that and was posting about some of that shit and reached out and asked me to come play at Dos Equis in Dallas with him.
okay,
And that was great. I mean, just 20,000 people in front of you,
let's
pretty
go.
damn fun. Exactly.
Yeah.
So I think, you know, just from that, we've kind of stayed in touch from there. And it was like last summer, I just hit him up and said I was going to recut either Mac or Beer Garden. And he picked Beer Garden Baby. So I said,
Yeah.
we'll roll with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
So,
that song, I mean, did that, because that song just went nuts right after he jumped. Like, I mean, well, it was already getting traction, but I mean, like,
yeah.
but now it's got millions of,
Texas knew that one real well. So I didn't,
yeah.
it wasn't
Yeah.
going to hurt nothing putting some Texas royalty on it too.
Man, yeah, no doubt, man. I mean, and is that a relationship that you just feel like, not just somebody that'll vouch for you, but somebody that maybe even has been in the industry himself that can kind of like when y'all hang and you just kind of, spend some time. I mean, is he somebody that you can bounce things off and feel like you're getting some
Yeah.
pretty solid wisdom?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
Definitely. It's
yeah,
pretty, yeah, he's pretty straightforward on what he's thinking sometimes when I'm asking something.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Nothing wrong with
well,
that.
what's that?
So nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that, man. Well, it seems like it's going to be, a really big year for you, man. It seems like, I mean, let me ask you this too, because and before I just kind of let you go, like I know that as you're touring and hopefully those things will pick up even more, in the summer and the fall and all that kind of stuff. Who are some people, man, like ideally that you feel like would be a good pairing for you to go out with on tour that you feel like, man, like I think that this would be a slam dunk and
Yeah.
I would love to go out with this guy or that, this lady. Who do you think that is?
I mean, I feel like I've been pretty blessed lately with who we have been opening up for. I mean, whether it's the Parkers,
Mhm.
Turnpike,
Yeah,
my boy Muscadine Bloodline, it's kind of cool to be playing with people in different room sizes, I guess. You know, like, you know, there's some of them are hopefully that's our next room. And then after that, you know, you're hitting those bigger amphitheaters and stadiums and shit like that. Like, it's cool to, I
yeah,
don't know, see all the different sizes. And, but yeah, I think other than that, like, we're just keeping our head down playing a lot of our own shows.
yeah, man. Yeah, well,
Yeah.
you're about to hit some big. I mean, I know you're going to Kentucky. I mean, you're about to hit some
Yeah.
some big audiences, man. So hopefully, man, things just go nuts for you in 2026, man. And I just wanted to thank you again for jumping on. Before I let you go, though, let me ask you. I know you were a skateboarder.
Yeah.
Okay, man. So here's my question. So like, man, I was one of the dudes, like I'd be flipping through the TV and like this kid, like Life of Ryan would come on, right? Like Ryan Sheckler.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm like, I like that kid. I don't know why I like the kid, but I like that kid. And so like that's about as close a relationship as I have, man, with skateboarding. But like I mean, was it something you were passionate about, man? Was it something that you just kind of, did
Yeah.
on a regular basis?
I was that weird ass kid that brought a skateboard to the cattle show. I don't really know why. There's plenty of
Yeah,
concrete around there, so I go find something to do. Yeah,
yeah,
I
yeah.
think it's an
Well,
excuse to go tear around with your friends. That's all it was.
I mean, is it hard to be a skater in South Dakota?
Yeah, there's a whole lot of gravel, not a lot of concrete.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, man, so I mean, was there anybody like, I mean, because listen, the reason I asked too is because I know a lot of artists, man, they kind of there's this weird kind of relationship between like athletics and
Yeah,
and kind of the country music scene. I know it sounds funny, but like a lot of people you'll find that like they either played college football or they did this and that. Like,
yeah,
was there something about like skating that I don't know? Because for me, it's like you're trying the impossible like all the time.
yeah.
You're challenging your mind to always do the impossible, and you're hoping that your body kind of takes.
Yeah, you're just doing dumb shit that you could probably get hurt doing. Yeah,
Exactly, but that does take a mindset of like, man, I'm gonna there's a decent chance I'm gonna eat it here in the
yeah.
next 2 or 3 seconds.
Yes,
Like, does that build up a tolerance in you that carries over, man, just to the rest of life?
maybe. I don't know. It might make you a little reckless or impulsive, but maybe in a good way here and there.
Yeah,
Just taking a chance. Yeah.
yeah, absolutely, man. We'll do, Tyler, man. Thank you so much for jumping on, man. It means a lot just to get to know you a little bit better, man. And again, we're pulling for you here, February 13th. Don't miss In Defense of Drinking. Pick it up everywhere, man. Dude, here's to a big 2026, man. Thanks so much for jumping on.
Yes, sir. Thanks for having me.
You bet.